algorithms are coded using C++. But this policy gets a C- at best. The affirmation touts the benefits of algorithms built on logarithms, but under a lens of realism. Every single benefit the affirmation champions becomes watermarked with falsehood. This speech isn't just going to be about deepfakes. It's going to be about deep frying the affirmation. You reject this policy because it turns the promise of protection into stepping stones for deceit. Representative Mishra and Duntal, even if we implement AI watermarks across America, there is a loophole to your policy that cannot be patched. Reuters contextualized 4 days ago that China has complete control over high-performing models like DeepSeek and Qwen that rival even their best American counterparts. Representative Wan, Martin, and Ament, the impenetrable algorithms you talk about are only artificially intelligent. Because it doesn't matter how complex you make it to remove the watermarks, or even how much you penalize companies for not making them. China can circumvent all of your regulations by expropriating state-of-the-art Chinese models to create deceptive deepfakes that don't include watermarks. And Representative Tooley, your ban on international businesses doesn't address the issue because China doesn't need to operate in America to spread propaganda. They can create it within their country's borders and spread it on social media platforms that our people use. But this doesn't just maintain course. It takes us down an even darker path. Representative Mishra and Martin, when your policy leads our people to expect all AI outputs to be watermarked, that gives them a false sense of security. But here's the issue. If you expect all AI content to be watermarked, you also become hardwired to believe that anything without a watermark is real, even if that's only because China decided to not include it. Representative Martin and Duntal, your policy doesn't protect us from AI propaganda. It programs us to trust what can't be trusted. And a future where trust is dictated by China isn't just dangerous, it's dystopian. Your policy spikes the very polarization you aim to reduce because China can now engineer divisive deepfakes without watermarks that our people are more likely to believe. But to make matters worse, the International Center for Counterterrorism explained in 2023 that any attempt to clarify that a deepfake isn't real will be ineffective because Americans that agree with the perspective a deepfake promotes are going to treat the absence of a watermark as a sign of truth. Representative Mishra, the unkept promise of protection your policy provides paralyzes pathways to counter Chinese propaganda. When deepfakes reinforce existing polarization and the lack of a watermark is taken as proof of authenticity, the rift between Americans you seek to solve only deepens. Programming is built on binary, but this debate gives you a unary choice. Gate.
Speech time, 3 minutes and 7 seconds. Questioners, rise. Representative Wong.
Thank you, Hi, Representative. So having a watermark, if this were to be passed, that would mean that what the watermark is on is AI content, correct?
Yes.
So wouldn't that though necessarily make our people already be sort of skeptical, even if there is a watermark, because they understand this content is from AI?
So what this policy leads our Americans to believe is that anything without a watermark is real.
Okay, but couldn't they still be questioning anything? Isn't it still a possibility that they could be questioning
So
other
what this
things
policy
and not
needs
just
to do-
100 blindly here?
Julie.
You say that there's Chinese deepfakes. Can we tell which companies are making?
No.
Why?
There's no way to track it back to the company.
Why?
It's a video. There's no way for you to track it back
Give me
to
a
what
source that
company
you
made it.
can't track them back to the Chinese
It's simple
company.
logic. You can't track a video back to a company.
Okay, we can say simple logic about anything. Give me a source that we can't track it, because there's an enforcement mechanism that bans them from doing it if we can.
You haven't mentioned that mechanism.
Okay, you're saying we can't track them. Can you prove that? I don't have to prove it if I didn't say it.
The question
Logical
period has
explanation
elapsed.
as to why that's
Speaker
not
may
possible.
take their seat. Let's make sure when you're the questioner, you only ask questions and don't make any statements. The chair now seeks speakers in the affirmation. Affirmative speakers rise. That's Representative Swihart. All right. Hello, everyone. That's Representative Swihart. And I'll be speaking for the first time today, first time in this legislative session. As always, I'm at the leisure of those above me. So I'll begin when everyone is ready. They say, let the truth set you free. So you pass today to set our constituents free of deception, to set our artists free of impersonation, and most importantly, to start the long road ahead of AI ethical standards. You pass. So first, let's look at some of the championed arguments in debate today. Representative Young told us too many AIs will result in too many watermarks, and this will confuse AI models, like Representative Goldmarkey also championed. Then Representative Lejeune told us in questioning the FCC won't have time to encode a generalized watermark. So which is it? The negation has too many conflicting arguments because these inconsistent points are both incorrect. Just look to Section 1 of this legislation, because it mandates a uniform standard for AI models to encode themselves to ensure an effective watermark is implemented. Representative Mohan, let's take your argument at its highest. We don't stop all bad actors or all crime. You're still passing today because an AI watermark would not only enable its users to identify fake content, but it would also allow for our constituents to seek the truth in an internet full of lies. So if you've been on the internet in the past year, the chances are you've probably recognized some form of AI-generated content. Or did you? A study from LifeWire of 500 respondents across multiple languages found that respondents misidentified 25% of deepfake audios as real. Representatives, that number comes from a study where respondents were told to identify AI-generated content. AI is no longer just a funny tool you can use to generate otherwise impossible situations. No, it's a political tool used to discredit opponents. It's a business tool used to ruin reputations of competitors. And it's a destabilization tool used to divide our country and weaken us from the inside. You pass because this legislation brings a net benefit to your constituents, which is truth. And now for my second contention, protecting human artists. Representative Mohan told us that our constituency is going to be negatively impacted. Here's where you're wrong. According to Harvard International Law, AI-generated art is composed, not through originality, but by combining plagiarized works of real humans. Due to this simple fact, the United States Copyright Office has explicitly stated that 100% of AI content cannot be copyrighted. But what's the issue with this? On social media, none of that matters. Representative Bala Murugan, you passed today to implement some form of watermark, at least on social media, for our watermarks. Ultimately, let the truth set the negation free.
Speech time, 3 minutes and 10 seconds. Questioners rise. Senator Chervishy.
Hi, thank you.
Please explain to me how this bill is going to be enforced.
Sure. So right now, a AI watermark is going to be implemented and then uniformly enforced.
So what's the check to make sure that, it's being.
Oh, sure, $50,000 as a fine
On who?
on companies that create.
So
said-
what about organizations or people who aren't companies that are creating AI?
Yeah, it's going to go to whoever created said AI model. So generally, it's companies, but it could be a human being.
Right, so does the bill not only say businesses?
Sure, it says businesses, but a business could be identified as an individual
Bill
person
Morgan.
if they created that AI.
You mentioned that uniform standards in AI watermarks will make it easier to regulate, correct?
Sure.
What about foreign actors that don't comply?
Okay, we're not talking about foreign actors.
I am.
because we cannot. Okay, well, we cannot control what countries do outside of the United States.
Exactly.
It's
So
our
when-
job to implement watermarks for United States media.
Okay, so when you implement it in the United States media and give our people a false sense of security, doesn't that amplify the
It's not
power
a
for
false sense of
countries like
security.
China?
If our United States citizens can identify what
The questioning period has elapsed. The speaker may take their seat. The chair now seeks a speech in the negation. Negative speakers rise. That's Representative Branch unopposed.
I thank the chair. Hello, everyone. Representative Branch for the judges BR8 and TSEH, pronounced like Tree Branch. As always, I'm at the leisure of those above. Just a thumbs up and I would gladly. Good. Good.
don't throw water on a grease fire to put it out. You don't look down the barrel of a gun to see if it's loaded. And you don't mandate AI watermarks to curb misinformation. The affirmations arguments are falsely predicated on assumptions. But like throwing water on a grease fire or looking down the barrel of a gun, it's soon going to blow up in their face. That's why you negate. So first, you negate because this technology doesn't exist. Now, Representative Young opened debate today on the negation by talking about a University of Maryland study that said that of every single AI watermarking technique, there wasn't a single one that couldn't be breached. Here's why this is important. We can look to Professor Feisey, who was in charge of the study, and he literally said, quote, "There's no hope." 14-year-old Francesca Monti was a victim of pornographic AI deepfakes that were created of her and 30 others. These girls were humiliated, embarrassed, traumatized, and potentially had their lives ruined with the spread of these images. Representatives Mishra, Martin, Tooley, your solvency doesn't work because we've already proven that even with watermarks being mandated, these bad actors have nothing to stop them from removing these watermarks because there is no 100% foolproof watermark. Representative Vaughn came up here and said that there was an open AI watermark being developed with a 100% rate of success. They retracted that in December. They stopped working on it because the users said they wouldn't use it anymore. They won't release it to the public. That's why you fail. But second, you fail because this doesn't stop misinformation. Now, Representative Dontal tells us that these watermarks will decrease misinfo if applied correctly. But I already proved that we can't apply them correctly. Here's why this is important. The Center for Data Innovation in December tells us that that of the implementation of watermarks doesn't address the cause of misinformation, disinformation. What really causes misinformation is humans sharing fake content and algorithms promoting it. Now, an analysis from MIT in 2024 tells us that, as Representative Bala-Murugan pointed out, if we mandated these, people would think that fake content is real because it appears to be real because these bad actors can remove these watermarks. Two layers of analysis here. First, this policy doesn't address the actual causes of misinformation. It ignores the bad actors that cause it in the first place. And second, we propagate the spread of misinformation. This is because the bad actors are perfectly able to and will remove the watermark, thus making their content appear legitimate. That's why we fail. For those who may not know, you should probably tell them, don't throw water into a grease fire to put it out. Don't look down the barrel of a gun to see if it's loaded. For the affirmation, don't pass this bill.
Speech time, 3 minutes and 6 seconds. Questioners, rise. All right, everyone show me your placards. I cannot see very well right now. So Representative Vaughn.
You said that OpenAI stopped their watermark due to user concerns. Why are we listening to the users of this AI when it still stands that this watermark was impermeable?
They didn't release it to the public, so we can't implement
Is
it.
it a
If it's
matter of
not
regulation releasing this to the public?
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
Is it a matter of regulation releasing this to the public? It was still impermeable. Won't this help release it to the public?
Because we don't have access to it because they didn't release it to the
But
public.
what regulation release it?
That's why we can't implement it as a regulation.
When I showed you that multiple hacker groups actually
Whitehart.
Hi, Representative. So if we educate our constituents that there are some bad actors out there, aren't they still going to believe the vast majority of AI with watermarks is still AI?
So that's not a catch-all solution. There can still,
Yeah,
you're not going to
absolutely,
convince,
it's not a
can I finish?
catch-all solution.
You're not going to convince every single constituent to be skeptical of every single piece of media they consume, so they can still look at things that appear legitimate, even though they aren't and
Okay,
think they're
it's
legitimate.
not a catch-all solution because we're not catching all
Right, and this
AI.
technology doesn't
Questioning
work.
period has elapsed. The speaker may take their seat. Once again, please refrain from back and forth questioning. Their chair now calls upon speakers in the affirmation. Affirmative speakers rise. Representative Waugh, unopposed.
Thank you. Just give me a second here. Hello, everyone. I'm Representative Waugh. That is spelled just like laugh, but instead of an L, a W, and pronounced slightly differently. This will be my first time speaking today, first time this legislative session, and I'll begin when I get a single line start. Good. Awesome. I want AI to do my laundry and dishes so that I can do art and writing. I don't want my AI to do the writing and art so that I have to do the laundry and dishes. When author Jonah Maziewicz said this quote, she put into the words and ideas that we all believe in. We as people want to do the things that we enjoy and have someone or something else do the things that we don't. However, in today's day and age, the misuse of AI in doing the things we don't like has continued to harm our people. So we pass. First, pass for protecting intellectual property, and second, pass for strengthening our national security. So first, Representative Swihart began to discuss our artists, and I would like to dive further because this point hasn't been discussed nearly enough in today's chamber. So we have failed to recognize that our true artists, our true journalists, and our true content creators face the unprecedented challenge of handling AI-generated works that mimic their style without credit or compensation. AI systems like DALL-E, Midjourney, and ChatGPT have demonstrated the ability to completely replicate artists' work, write convincing news articles, and compose music, all while raising ethical concerns about their ownership. A 2024 study from the Authors Guild found that 75% of professional writers worried that AI-generated content would be replacing their work within the next 5 years. Without watermarks, AI content will be passed as human-made, allowing these bad actors that we have spent all day talking about to steal profits from our people. When we implement watermark requirements, we establish a framework of accountability, ensuring that AI tools enhance human creativity rather than exploit it. Second, Representative Ballmer-Regan, even if this policy will not be able to get rid of all of the world's foreign misinformation, we are still helping our people trust us again. So pass. The threat of AI-generated deception extends beyond misinformation and copyright problems. In 2023, U.S. cybersecurity agencies warned that foreign adversaries were using AI deepfakes to impersonate our military officials, government leaders, and corporate executives. The absence of AI watermarks can deceive the public and decision makers alike. A watermarking mandate would serve as a digital fingerprint, ensuring that AI-generated content would be traced, verified, and prevented from being weaponized against our American people. Representative Martin, you bring up public trust in relevant politics, and I want to delve into the news sector. A Gallup poll done in 2024, which was only 60 days ago when it was done, found that only 32% of our American citizens trust our news. This is a true problem that we cannot allow to continue. Pass for property, security, and our people.
Speech time, 3 minutes and 10 seconds. Questioners rise. Representative Branch.
Okay, so I want to understand, why do you come up here and say that this is protecting, like, I agree, you should protect artists. Why are you coming up here and saying we're protecting artists when the entire negation has come up here and proved time and time again that these watermarks don't work?
So in the point of a debate, we go back and forth to talk about our different views on how we view policy. When I look at this policy, I see it as an opportunity to protect the people that are the artists that are getting their profits stolen away from them.
How are we protecting people if this technology literally doesn't exist?
Okay, we have heard from many different speakers on the affirmation that it is possible. Again, but many other speakers on the affirmation prove that it is possible.
So Representative Ballmer and I both explained that bad actors remove watermarks, and that increases
Yes, it's possible.
misinformation. It's not possible. We prove in our speeches that it increases misinformation. So how does that help artists?
So, okay, so when there's a possibility that bad people are going to do bad things in any sector of this world, so there's always going to be a possibility of concern. The problem is I can see that the good, I'm trying to answer what you originally said.
The question period has elapsed. The speaker may take their seat. Once again, back and forth questioning is something I'm not allowing in this chamber. Questioners only ask questions, do not make statements. With that being said, the chair now calls upon speakers in the debate. Negative speakers rise.
Motion?
Motion recognized.
I move the previous question.
Any seconds?
Second.
Any opposed? That motion does pass. Now we will move to previous question to vote on piece of legislation F1, a bill to mandate AI watermarks. All those in the affirmative
6 Amos, 7 Swihart, 8 Waugh, 9 Walker. All those in the negation, please rise. 1 Godavarthy, 2 Terabishi, 3 Lishore, 4 Vaughn, 5 Ballamorgan, 6 Branch. There should be no abstentions, and this bill does pass. My congratulations to the author. Motion recognized.
Motion to take a 10-minute recess. Secret.
All those in favor of that motion say aye. All those who are against this motion say no. That motion does pass. All right. Okay, let's vote on that then. All those in favor of that motion, please raise your placards. It's an overwhelming majority. That motion does pass, and we are moving to a recess. Thank you so much for letting me be your presiding officer.